What is the US Patriot Act and which are the sections that are more relevant to financial institutions operating under the US jurisdiction? To find out all that, let's jump right into today's video. Hi and welcome to FinCrime Agent, my YouTube channel where every week I publish a new video to boost your awareness about anti-money laundering and financial crime prevention. I have covered recently the regulatory changes introduced in the EU with the 6th Anti-Money Laundering Directive, which triggered a number of comments on that video asking me to provide also an overview of the key anti-money laundering regulations from the US perspective. So, as mentioned in my intro, I'm going to discuss today the US Patriot Act, and I'd like to start with a bit of history to understand why and when the US Patriot Act was implemented. So, what is the USA Patriot Act? The US Patriot Act was implemented as a direct consequence of the September 11 terrorist attack that took place in 2001 in New York. Since it was rolled out, the US Patriot Act gave law enforcement within the US wider authority to investigate, convict, and prosecute terrorists. Since its approval in 2001, the US Patriot Act built more regulatory structure for financial services sector across the United States as it built on the foundations that were already in place from the 1970 Bank Secrecy Act. So, how things changed once the US Patriot Act was introduced? One of the things that you should know is that the US Patriot Act raised the punishment for committing and supporting terrorism. Also, this anti-terror law lowered the threshold required by the law enforcement bodies for getting intelligence warrants against suspected spies, terrorists, and other individuals and organizations that are considered enemies of the United States. So, with some background cover, let's see how FinCEN defines the key objectives of the US Patriot Act. According to the FinCEN definition, the purpose of the US Patriot Act is to deter and punish terrorist acts in the United States and around the world, to enhance law enforcement investigatory tools, and other purposes. Besides this definition, FinCEN also indicates 4 high-level areas that are supported by the US Patriot Act. Those include to improve US mechanism for preventing, detecting, and prosecuting international money laundering and terrorist financing, ensuring that closer scrutiny will take place for foreign jurisdictions, foreign financial institutions, and classes of international transactions or accounts that are vulnerable to criminal exploitation. To make it mandatory for all relevant segments of the financial services sector to report possible money laundering, and to enhance procedures to prevent corrupt foreign officials from using the US financial system for personal benefit and to make it easier for stolen assets to be returned to their rightful owners. So with those high-level principles in mind, let's now see some of the US Patriot Act sections that are applicable to US financial institutions or other financial institutions operating under the US jurisdictions. Section 311. Special measures for jurisdictions, financial institutions, or international transactions. Section 312. Special due diligence for correspondent accounts and private banking accounts. Section 313. Prohibition on US correspondent accounts with foreign shell banks. Section 314. Cooperative efforts to deter money laundering. Section 319b. Bank records related to anti-money laundering programs. Section 325. Concentration accounts at financial institutions. Section 326. Verification of identification. Section 351. Amendments related to reporting of suspicious activities. Section 352. Anti-money laundering programs. Section 359. Reporting of suspicious activities by underground banking systems. Section 362, establishment of a highly secure network. If you want to discover in more details what each of those sections of the US Patriot Act say, you can find the link to part 2 of this video in the description down below. And if you are finding valuable my content, press the thumb up and leave a comment on this video. For references from my research on the US Patriot Act, check the video description where you can find also my Patreon page to support the development of my FinCEN agent project, and you can grab there also a copy of the slides that are presented in my videos. And lastly, thank you for watching. I hope you have enjoyed today's video, and until next time, see you soon.